Hi guys, and welcome to Phil in the Philippines again on the Phil and Jen in the Philippines channel. Let the bikes go by something. In the previous one I said got a hell of a lot of bikes in this truck. Okay, I had a bit of feedback, and what a lot of guys want to know is dating online and what my thoughts are on dating online. Well, as with it's going to be no secrets, but I'm going to give you what I consider to be the formulation for dating online successfully. First things first, there's no shame in dating online. These days, like the majority of people, especially people from different countries meeting other people from other countries, obviously have got to get some form of communication going, and online dating is one of them. So I see no shame, or there should be no reason why anyone shouldn't suggest when they're talking to people and they ask, how did you meet so-and-so? I was dating online. I met this person through an online dating site. So let's put that to one side. How do we do it successfully? Okay, the reason I'm going to tell you what I think is a formulation for success is because the majority of my courtship for the woman I'm now married to and meeting and whatever was done online. It was done through a dating service called Date in Asia. We kept communication through there, and that was the easiest way to correspond. I wasn't all that, as you can probably tell, I'm not all that computer literate. I don't know the ins and outs of computers, and that was suggested to me to be the easiest formulation. Well, that obviously was successful. I wasn't experienced at online dating. I must admit that I hadn't had a lot of people I spoke to. I picked who I considered to be one that suited me, and the rest is history. 9 years down the track, or 9 and a bit years down the track, I'm now married. I'm happily married, or as happy as anyone can be married. But like, things are going well. So, okay, I'm going to suggest to you guys out there how to do it and have the utmost chance of success. The first thing you've got to do, I think you've got to ascertain to yourself what you're really going online for. If you're dating on a foreign website, you've got to say to yourself, what is the likelihood of me ever getting out of this country that I'm in and going to a foreign country? A lot of guys, and I know for a fact, a lot of guys, enter into these dating sites more of entertainment than anything else, with no inclination, no anticipation, no anything. They're really fooling themselves. They think, oh well, if I find someone decent enough, I may go there. Well, I think you've got to go a little bit beyond that. If you're going to interfere in somebody's life, if you're going to get involved online, you've got to have a reasonable expectation that you will, if the circumstances are right, you're going to eventually meet up. So, okay, the first thing is decide what you want to do online. If you just want to play games online, get on there, have a look around, look at pretty girls, talk to them, tell them, listen, the likelihood of me ever coming to the Philippines or Vietnam or Thailand or Ukraine or Russia or whatever it happens to be is minuscule. I'm only here because I'm lonely. I just want a good conversation. I just want to learn about your country. These girls will still talk to you. Well, the majority of them will anyway. They'll be polite. They may not be long, in-depth conversations, but a lot of them are online too, simply because they're lonely and they want someone to speak to. So, okay, first, make up your mind what you want to do and how far you're willing to take it. The second thing is, when you fill out your profile, don't bullshit. Because, if you meet with Miss World, you're getting along famously and your profile's full of crap, like, how are you going to explain that? People are very wary online anyway, and they're looking for kinks in the armour, and then all of a sudden you decide to, oh, listen, everything that you think you know about me isn't really right. I'm ready to bare my soul and tell you. You've done irreparable damage. Like, before you even start, you may lose the love of your life simply not by being dishonest in the first place. If you're 65, say you're 65, like, I know all of us guys look in the mirror and say you don't look a year over 55 and all that kind of bullshit. Well, the fact is, like, you're 65, you're 65. If you happen to look a lot younger, well, that's even better, but, tell the truth about your age. Now, Tell the truth about your financial situation. Don't tell them that the ex-CEO of bloody Telstra or BHP or Twitter or some bullshit thing. And stop talking yourself up. Like I was in Afghanistan and I've got a Purple Heart and all this. This is all bullshit. You know, um, and eventually you're going to get caught out. Yeah. So, as I said, if you're quite happy and you've got no real prospects of getting to see them, and you want to play this fanciful game, okay, play it. But you're getting in the road of a lot of guys that really want to make something out of this. So, okay, be truthful, be honest. Tell them your financial situation. Tell them if you're working, your pension, whatever. Tell them about any disabilities you have or anything, and then be truthful and honest about what you're looking for. Okay, I'm not going to condone or condemn an older guy looking for a bird that's 25 or whatever. I think it's stupid, but on the same token too, each to their own. So if you have an age bracket, and you look like a greyhound bus has hit you, and you put in you're not interested in anyone, under or over 25, there's a good chance of two things. Either you get someone that's mentally defective, or you get someone that's trying to rip you off. The likelihood of you tripping over a fantastic looking woman that's fabulous personality that happens to be under 25 and you happen to be 70, and the honesty in the relationship is Buckley's and sweet FA. So be honest with yourselves, for God's sake. My advice is, if you're 65, whatever, look for someone 30, 35 and over, maybe even a little bit older. See, these are the things you've got to understand. Yes, she might love you. She might do eventually. Someone 25 may love a 70-year-old guy. I'm not going to say yay or nay. But young people are a pain in the ass after all. They're stuck to their mobile phones. They talk in a language you don't understand. They have interests which you have no interest in. So after the bonking takes place and all the, isn't she fabulous type thing, and after you realise 9 times out of 10 they can't cook, or they're not too keen on being housebound, and they're not too happy about wiping your backside and scrubbing the skid marks out of your undie, or whatever it happens to be. They're 25-year-old kids, basically. So eventually, whether it be a week or a month or a year, you're going to tire of each other, so it's just a waste of time. So, okay. My advice is to get someone a little bit, 20 years, like my wife is 20 years younger than me, but, the situation is I'm 65, she's 45, or whatever it happens to be. She's seen the world, she's been married before, she's a widow, all that kind of thing. She's had some life experience, she's travelled overseas, which is another thing. It's all very good. You make a rod for your own back. If you go and date someone from the deepest, darkest provinces in the Philippines that has been absolutely nowhere apart from the next tiny town, and she's 22 or 23 years of age, apart from the fact she's probably still studying, which is going to cost you money anyway, she's seen nothing, done nothing. The first thing she wants you to do is to take her out of this shit fight that she's living in, and that's going to cost you money. Okay, guys like us have seen big cities. They've seen how the West works. They've become totally disillusioned half the time with the way the Western system works. They've had enough of it. They just want a quieter life. Well, it's totally the opposite side when you're dating a 20, 21, 22, 23, 24-year-old girl. She's seen nothing and wants to see it all. So if you want to avoid problems like this, date someone at least appropriate, or someone that's been outside the village area. Someone that has a good grasp of your own native language, or languages, so she can adapt. I know that there could be German speaking here, and they're speaking to people, which usually they converse in English or via Google Translator. Now, two things happen when you eventually get involved with someone that speaks the first language and you're living in their country. First thing that happens is if they haven't got a good grasp of the language you speak, it becomes so tiresome to carry out a conversation, a day-to-day, normal, run-of-the-mill conversation. It's fine in the first 6 months when you're in the full glow of your latest love, when half the time all you've got to indicate is what time we're going to bed and what's next to eat. When it comes to living, like there's certainly more things to worry about, especially if you're setting up in a new country, than when your next bonk's on and what you're eating for breakfast, lunch, or dinner. Like there's and it becomes tiresome. Trying to mentally, but the mental fatigue and trying to sift your way through what she wants and what she's trying to say if she hasn't got a good grasp of the language. And remember, that's not even taking into consideration what she's saying and what she's meaning are two different things. Culturally, they say things here that don't have the same cultural meaning that they have in my country. Again, things like sarcasm, they just don't understand. You can be joking with them and upset them terribly because they haven't got the same sense of humour. Now, without a good understanding of the language, this is almost insurmountable because you're going to be in the shit 9 times out of 10 and fighting more times than you're talking. So see if you can find someone with a decent grasp of your language. Now, they are English speakers here, but it's school-taught English, and a lot of they go to secondary education, in university and colleges, and go on to professional employment, speak really good English. And they're adaptable because they know probably 2 or 3 languages in Filipino, some Spanish, and then English. A lot of these people, also adapt to English rather quickly, but it's going to take some time and effort and energy. Now, the other thing is okay, we're getting back to dating online. Okay, so what we've got so far is tell the truth, fill out, be reasonable, pick someone of a compatible age that's not going to be a disaster from day one. If you're looking for a young, fun-filled month or 2 with some young girl that doesn't mind hitting the sack with you and as long as you spend a bit of money, tell them in your profile, say, I'm not looking for anything serious, I'm not looking for marriage, I'm not looking for this, I'm just looking for a good time and I am willing to spend money on the partner or the guide or whatever you want to call yourself or them, for the 4 months or 3 months or 2 months that I'll be in the Philippines. There are women out there will think, okay, yeah, I can put up with him for 2 months as long as there's $1 in it, and they may even, before you get here, inform you of how much it's going to cost. Let's not use the word prostitution or anything like that. It's not really that, because they are companions. Let's say, make it easier and say companions. Not only easier on you, but easier on them. They're giving up their time. A lot of them are giving up the prospects of work just to spend time with you. So you have got to fulfill at least some monetary compensation for them having a good time, over the 2-month period or 3-month period that you may be here. The other thing is too, and you'll find it a lot of the times that the women that are genuinely looking for guys online in the long term very rarely hit you in the first 5 minutes with, oh, my camera's broken on the computer, or if only I had this, or if only I had that, and if you could send me $50 and you could do this. And if they start mentioning money in the first 5 minutes, move on. There's a million of them out there. If they start mentioning money in the first week but you're getting on with them, say, listen, I don't want to talk about money, I'm still finding out about you. If they get the shits and annoyed with you because you won't talk money, get rid of them. If over a period of time, whether it be a month or whatever you're comfortable with, there's a reoccurring problem. It could be something like, my kids come out for exams or whatever, and all I need is $30 to pay for their exams. And okay, think of it this way: she spent a lot of time online with you. It's cost her money to be online. No one gets internet for free here, so she's had to top up her phone, or she's had to go to an internet cafe, or she's got to pay for Wi-Fi. So it's cost her money. Don't be a tight ass. Send her the $30 or $40, but don't make it. Don't turn it into an ATM. Until you feel confident enough that this woman, there is a future in her, and you don't feel put out by advancing them a little bit of money to make their lives easier. Remember, their investment in you is time, and it is money, and money really they haven't got to spend. So don't string them along. The other thing is too, if they mention or come across in the first 5 minutes, first week or so, oh listen, if I had a new camera, or I had a new phone, or I had a new computer, I could show you so much more of me, and do a sexy dance, whatever it happens to be, guys, you know what the next question is. Will you send me this or send me that? What you've got to do is say to yourself, if this girl was in the next town along from you, in Idaho somewhere, or in Stuttgart, or wherever, the next town over, and you were talking to her online, or in Sydney, and she was in Wollongong, or in Auckland, and you understand what I'm getting at. If she's, an hour and a half away, and she asked you for money online, would you give it to her? The answer is no. And if you did give it to her, it'd be a small amount. If it became a repetition, there's no way in the world that you would even contemplate, carrying on this relationship where you kept forking over money and she was only X amount of time away. So there is no reason for you to continue to fork over money on the off chance that this woman is madly in love with you. My wife has never asked me for money at all. I've always volunteered it because I know that she has a problem. Well, let's not say that. Up until the point where we were married, it was I knew that she was struggling with certain things, and I said, listen, if it has helped, how about I do this for you? Now, she was very hesitant about doing it because she knew that locked her into a situation with me. And, she was summing me up as much as I was summing her up. I didn't send her a great deal of money, and I think we'd been, after we met and then we started to talk online, I think it must have been 6 months before I sent the first penny across. She never asked, and she was struggling, but she didn't give me the big sad sob story. Remember, if you wouldn't do it in your own country, don't do it here until you find out a lot more about these girls. Now, having said that, this video is brought to you today. Our sponsor today is Doomagitty Expat Services Club. Now, they're an expat advisory service for all you guys out there that are contemplating coming to the Philippines, and their job is basically to make it a lot easier. They can do everything for you, even down to online dating. If you've been talking with a young lady for X amount of time, and she's starting to put the acid on you for money and whatever, and really is very sketchy about where she lives and what she does, and it seems too good to be true, Doomagitty Expat Services can do a background check, totally legal, on any woman or any women, as long as the basic information they have is real, anywhere in the Philippines. And they do it through government agencies, and they'll do a full background check on this person, and they will forward that background check back to you with their opinion on the sincerity of this person, whether or not that they are who they say they are and whatever. Anyway, that's Doomagitty Expat Services. Look them up on Google. There's no link below. I haven't worked out how to put links in, but anyway, Google Doomagitty Expat Services Club. There's another company called Doomagitty Expat Services, but this is Doomagitty Expat Services Club. There's a lot of good information on there, and you put down any inquiry you have, and one of the members will get back to you. Anyway, so getting back to online dating. If you want a bit of fun online, and we all know what the bit of fun online may be, and there's someone willing to do it, okay, that's totally up to you. I'm not here to be a moral or place moral judgment on anybody, and it takes two to tango and whatever. But for God's sake, you guys that keep sending money over, and the little voice in the back of your head is saying, "Oh, I'm not too sure," but you keep doing it. Don't whinge at the end of the day that this young lady may have ripped you senseless. Just got to get up and go and answer the gate because I think my stepson's here. So anyway, that's my advice. This is my home all the way. So I think he's been out riding his push bike up and down the highway, up to no good because he's only 13 or going on 13. But anyway, that's the advice. Look, you can get a lot of great ladies online. There's a lot of pretty young girls online. There's a lot of pretty middle-aged ladies online. But like if you've got a list of things you require out of a woman, jot them down on a piece of paper, put them in front of you, and that's what you're looking for. If the extra turns out to be a very attractive, well-spoken, honest and reliable woman, and they're there, let me tell you, they're out there, well, you've hit the jackpot. You know, if you fall for the old, the smaller brain in your body thinking for you, it's 9 times out of 10 it's going to end in tears, and your tears, and your bank balance is going to hurt, and you're going to feel like an idiot, and you're probably going to miss a really good woman. As I said, what you're looking for, put the ages down, reasonable age. You know, it doesn't mean that young girls won't contact you, because they don't usually look at that, but at least you can fall back on and say, well, I'm actually looking for someone 35 and whatever. Educated if possible, and a lot of them are educated here. Proximity, even if you say, listen, I don't want to go here and I don't want to go there, I've heard about this, I don't want to go down near the Muslim enclave, I don't want to be in Mindanao, I'd prefer it to be closer to Manila. Put that down and give them something to go on. So, okay, you mightn't get swamped by 1,000,001 people trying to get your attention, but the ones that you, with the amount of information you do give them of what you are looking for, at least it will the prospects will be within that ballpark. As I said, you're still going to get the young ones that think they can make a buck out of a silly old fool, and the hardest thing is when they've got a glamorous photo up there, is to just, what do they say in Tinder, flick left or flick right, or get rid of them. Now the other thing is too, remember this, a lot of the women working these websites aren't women. A lot of them are lady boys, a lot of them that have no video up are men. And the reason men are very good at this, whether they be gay men or whatever, they're still men, and they know what men like to hear. So you think, oh, that's easy, what we'll do is get them to send photos. They'll send photos, all right, but it won't be of them. Or the other thing that they'll do, which is a bit of a con everywhere in the world, is that once they get you on the hook and you eventually sell, look, I'm not going to send you any money unless I see you live online, they'll have a cousin or something sit in for them, a pretty cousin, and just converse with you for 5 minutes and then have some other reason to get offline. So they've fulfilled your request to look at what you think is them online. It's a pretty woman, everything they've told you is true. The perpetrator of this deception has already briefed this cousin or this sister or whatever, or some pretty young thing that they work with all the time that will take up the guise of this person they're supposed to be talking to, and they will send you all the sexy photos and all this type of thing. And try to get off the dating sites as soon as possible, because it costs money. Get onto some of the free services like I suppose WhatsApp and Viber and things like that, and you can converse in real time. Then once you converse in real time, there is no excuse and let me tell you, this thing about I've got a broken phone, I've got this, I've got that. The one thing they treasure in the Philippines is their phones. If the phones are broken, half the time they will move heaven and earth to get them fixed, because it's their lifeline to the rest of the world. So there's bullshit about the camera doesn't work. And another thing is standalone computers here, very, very few. So this thing about if my laptop, my this, my that, they are talking to you 9 times out of 10 from a phone. And let me tell you, if they're using a phone to talk to you, they have access to a camera. All cameras do have it. All smartphones, as you know, have cameras. The other good thing, as far as doing some background checks yourself, ask them what social media they're on and what their handle is, what their name is. Now, a lot of these people set up social media accounts that are just 1 or 2 pages and a few photos. Well, if they're that and they're Asians you're speaking to, that is a false account 9 times out of 10. Because one thing Asians do is take 1,000,001 photographs, from what they eat to what dog shit they stand in, to what party they've gone to what relations visit. There's a photograph, every event, and they always post them. Well, the majority of them always post them. So a Facebook account or something such as that, or should be chock-a-block full of photos and friends and whatever. So that's one indication, free of charge, that you can do to get some indication of where, when, how and why this young lady is contacting you. You know, it'll show her parents, it'll show everything, and so you can get a fair bit of information free of charge. If you need to go further, you need to know more about them, or there's still some suspicion, get in touch with Doomagitty Expat Services Club. Okay, I hope that's been a little bit of help. Subscribe if you would. I need to grow the channel for obvious reasons, so I can get the word out there. Like or dislike, but I'm really looking forward to some of you giving me some suggestions through the comment section, so I can find things that you're interested in listening to, that I may be able to put my two volts worth in. Anyway, Philippines Phil, and notice I still haven't got Jen on mine yet, but I'm working on it, and I will get her there in the end. So Phil in the Philippines, on Jen and Phil in the Philippines. Great to see you again. I hope that you stick around for this journey. Cheers for now.